You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Data retention policies define how long information is kept, why it is retained, and when it should be deleted. These policies exist to balance multiple drivers: business requirements, legal mandates, analytics value, and cost considerations. For example, customer transaction data may be retained for several years to comply with financial regulations, while marketing logs might be stored temporarily for analysis before being purged. Retention policies prevent the uncontrolled growth of data, reducing both storage costs and security risks. Hardened organizations view retention as a security control, ensuring that sensitive data is not kept indefinitely without justification. Classification-driven retention ensures that data handling rules reflect sensitivity and regulatory obligations. Public or low-risk data may be stored longer for convenience, while confidential or regulated data must follow stricter timelines. For example, healthcare records governed by HIPAA or personal data under GDPR require retention periods defined by law, after which deletion becomes mandatory. Tying retention to classification guarantees that high-risk data receives special attention, while less sensitive information is managed more flexibly. Hardened environments ensure that classification is not just a label, but an active driver of how long data persists. Retention periods, archival triggers, and automated deletion workflows are essential to operationalize policies. Retention periods specify the duration data must remain accessible. Archival triggers determine when active data is moved to long-term storage, where it is cheaper but less immediately available. Automated deletion workflows enforce the removal of expired data without relying on manual intervention. Without automation, old data often lingers unnoticed, expanding the attack surface. Hardened practices ensure these workflows are built into systems, turning retention from a theoretical policy into a routine process that runs reliably and consistently across the enterprise. Legal holds complicate retention by suspending normal deletion actions during litigation or investigation. If data is potentially relevant to a legal matter, organizations must preserve it even if it exceeds normal retention timelines. Legal holds override automated deletion workflows until the hold is released. This prevents accusations of evidence tampering or spoliation. Hardened organizations implement legal hold processes that are both auditable and transparent, ensuring that the right data is preserved without freezing unrelated systems. Proper documentation and governance keep legal holds targeted and compliant without disrupting normal retention elsewhere. Secure archival storage balances durability with accessibility. Archival systems must ensure data is preserved against corruption, loss, or tampering, often through redundancy and replication. However, archives should not remain as easily accessible as production systems, since broader access increases risk. Durability may involve off-site storage or cloud-based archival tiers, while accessibility depends on how quickly data may need to be restored. Hardened organizations evaluate trade-offs carefully, ensuring archives meet regulatory durability requirements without creating exposure through unnecessary access pathways. Archival is about preserving data responsibly, not keeping it live forever. Encryption at rest and access controls remain vital for retained and archived data. Just because data is old does not mean it is less sensitive. In fact, long-term archives often contain the most complete sets of personal or proprietary information. Encryption ensures confidentiality even if physical media is stolen, while strict access controls limit exposure to authorized users. Hardened environments do not relax protections on archived data, they often strengthen them. Archived data must be viewed as valuable, requiring the same, if not greater, care as active datasets due to its richness and sensitivity. Metadata plays an important role in retention management. Attributes such as retention period, owner, classification, and justification allow organizations to track why data exists and when it must be deleted. Without metadata, administrators cannot distinguish between data kept for compliance, analytics, or convenience. Hardened organizations require metadata tagging at ingestion, ensuring retention can be automated and monitored. Metadata makes retention transparent, allowing systems and auditors alike to see the rationale behind data persistence and to verify that retention policies are being followed correctly. Retention exceptions inevitably arise, and organizations must manage them carefully. For example, a business may need to retain certain datasets longer for ongoing analytics or operational needs. Exceptions should follow a formal process, with documented justification, defined expiration dates, and explicit approval from governance bodies. Without structure, exceptions accumulate unchecked, undermining retention policies. Hardened environments balance flexibility with discipline, allowing for exceptions but ensuring they are temporary, justified, and subject to review. This prevents policies from being undermined by endless exemptions. Monitoring ensures retention rules are consistently applied across systems. Automated checks can verify whether data is deleted on schedule, whether archives follow encryption policies, and whether legal holds remain active only where intended. Without monitoring, misconfigurations or bypasses can leave sensitive data lingering unnoticed. Hardened environments embed monitoring at every step, producing alerts when retention processes fail or deviate from policy. This oversight ensures that retention is not merely aspirational, but actively enforced across diverse platforms and data stores. Cost management strategies support secure retention by making data storage sustainable. Tiered storage allows data to transition from high-performance systems to cheaper archival options as it ages. Cloud providers often offer lifecycle management policies that automate these transitions, reducing expenses without sacrificing compliance. Hardened organizations apply these tools to align cost with sensitivity and access needs. This ensures retention is not only a security and compliance practice, but also a financially responsible one, preventing waste while maintaining protection. Anonymization and aggregation provide alternatives to retaining sensitive data in raw form. Instead of storing personal identifiers indefinitely, organizations can anonymize records or aggregate them into statistical summaries. This reduces privacy risk while preserving analytical value. For example, sales trends can often be analyzed without retaining individual customer details. Hardened environments prioritize anonymization where possible, ensuring sensitive data is not stored longer than necessary. By transforming raw data into safer formats, organizations achieve compliance and efficiency while still meeting business needs. Periodic review cycles ensure retention settings remain aligned with changing laws and business needs. Regulations evolve, industries update compliance requirements, and organizations shift their priorities. Policies set years ago may no longer be relevant or sufficient. Reviews confirm that retention periods, archival practices, and deletion workflows remain current and appropriate. Hardened environments schedule these reviews as part of governance, ensuring retention practices adapt rather than stagnate. This dynamic approach keeps retention policies living and responsive, safeguarding both compliance and operational relevance over time. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Audit logging provides accountability for retention activities. Every action, whether archiving, restoring, or deleting data, should be recorded with details about who performed the action, when it occurred, and which datasets were affected. Without audit logs, disputes or investigations cannot verify whether retention policies were followed. Hardened environments maintain immutable logs that cannot be tampered with and are retained as long as regulations require. Logging transforms retention from a silent process into a transparent one, giving organizations the evidence they need to demonstrate compliance to auditors, regulators, and internal stakeholders. Access requests to archive data must be tightly controlled. Workflows should require explicit authorization, often involving approvals from data owners and security staff, before retrieval is granted. Archive data often contains large, sensitive datasets, making unauthorized access particularly damaging. Access requests should also be logged and monitored, ensuring visibility into who retrieves data and why. Hardened practices ensure that archives do not become backdoors bypassing normal access controls. Instead, retrieval follows strict checks, balancing the need for access with the obligation to protect sensitive information. Encryption key lifecycle management is vital for archived datasets, especially when data spans multiple regions. Keys used to protect archived data must be rotated regularly, retired when no longer needed, and stored in secure key management systems. Cross-region considerations are critical in cloud environments where archives may be replicated globally. If key management is inconsistent, archives may become vulnerable. Hardened environments view encryption keys as living assets with their own lifecycle, ensuring that archive data remains protected even as technology, geography, and threats evolve. Data portability requirements, such as those defined by GDPR or consumer privacy regulations, intersect with retention practices. Organizations may be asked to provide individuals with access to their data or to transfer it to another provider. Retention processes must ensure that data remains accessible for legitimate requests while also being deleted once retention periods expire. Hardened practices reconcile these obligations, ensuring portability does not undermine security or create loopholes for extended retention. Balancing portability and deletion reflects the broader principle of giving users control while keeping compliance intact. Retention reporting provides organizations with evidence of coverage, exceptions, and holds. Reports show which data sets are subject to retention, how many exceptions exist, and where legal holds are in place. These reports are vital for demonstrating compliance to regulators and reassuring executives that policies are enforced. Hardened environments produce these reports regularly, embedding them into governance reviews and audits. Retention without reporting risks becoming invisible, while reporting provides visibility and accountability that turn retention into a measurable, auditable control. Integration with backup and snapshot lifecycles is essential to avoid accidental over-retention. Backups often store full copies of systems, including data that should have been deleted. Without alignment, backups can reintroduce expired information into the environment. Retention controls must extend into backup management, ensuring that data subject to deletion is not inadvertently preserved in secondary copies. Hardened environments integrate retention policies with disaster recovery practices, ensuring that resilience does not come at the expense of compliance. Deletion must cascade consistently across all storage layers. Immutable storage features such as write once, read many, WORM, provide tamper-proof retention options. These systems prevent data from being modified or deleted until the retention period expires, making them ideal for regulatory requirements like financial records. However, immutability must be used carefully, as it can also lock in data that later becomes subject to deletion requests or privacy regulations. Hardened organizations apply immutable storage selectively, using it where regulations demand non-erasable retention, while ensuring flexibility in areas where privacy or legal mandates may require earlier removal. Monitoring alerts prevent accidental changes or bypasses of retention policies. For example, if a system attempts to delete data still under legal hold or extend retention periods without approval, alerts notify administrators immediately. This ensures retention remains consistent and policies are not silently undermined. Hardened environments rely on monitoring not only for live systems but also for retention configurations, acknowledging that errors in policy enforcement can be as damaging as errors in access control. Visibility ensures that retention rules remain trustworthy and enforced without exception. Training and stewardship responsibilities equip owners to make informed retention decisions. Data owners must understand regulatory requirements, business needs, and security risks tied to their data. Without training, owners may retain data unnecessarily, exposing organizations to both cost and liability. Hardened programs embed stewardship into ownership, requiring owners to document justifications for retention and to revisit them during review cycles. Education ensures that retention is not simply delegated to IT, but is a shared responsibility across the business, guided by informed decision-making. Policy testing validates that retention tools and processes actually work. This can include restoring data from archives to ensure usability or verifying deletion with forensic tools. Without periodic testing, organizations may assume retention systems are effective when, in fact, they are misconfigured or failing quietly. Hardened environments adopt a trust but verify approach, treating retention enforcement like any other security control. Testing builds confidence that archives remain recoverable when needed, and that deletion is truly final when required. Governance binds retention practices together with documented approvals, oversight, and metrics. Decisions to retain, delete, or exempt data must be recorded, with clear sign-off from responsible parties. Governance ensures retention is not ad hoc, but follows structured rules that can withstand audits. Metrics such as retention, compliance rates, number of exceptions, and frequency of holds provide leaders with visibility into performance. Hardened organizations see governance as the anchor, ensuring retention policies are enforced consistently, aligned with law, and responsive to evolving risks. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.